It's the year 1173 in the small English village of Woolpit, a sleepy countryside community surrounded by farmland and thick woods where nothing unusual ever happens. But one day, that peace is shattered by a bizarre discovery. Farmers stumble upon two children, alone, frightened, and visibly disoriented, standing near one of the wolf pits that gave the village its name. A boy and a girl, holding hands tightly. They looked human, but something was very wrong. Their skin was green, not a pale hue from illness, but a distinct, unnatural shade of green that made everyone stop in their tracks. They spoke a language no one could understand, wore clothes made from materials unknown in the region, and refused all food, except raw beans, still in the pod. Who were they? Where had they come from? And what were they doing in medieval England? The villagers, puzzled and concerned, took them in. Over the following days, the boy's health began to decline. He was weak, fragile, and despite the care given, he passed away. But the girl slowly began to adjust. She started eating regular food, and her green tint faded over time. Eventually, she learned enough English to tell her story, a story so strange it would live on for centuries. She claimed they came from a place called St. Martin's Land, a dim, twilight world where the sun never rose and everything was bathed in a constant greenish hue. She described rivers of light, skies without stars, and people who lived underground. One day, she and her brother were tending cattle when they heard the sound of bells. Following the noise, they entered a dark tunnel and emerged into a world filled with blinding sunlight. Our world. She said they had gotten lost and could never find their way back. At first glance, it sounds like a medieval fairy tale. But two respected chroniclers, William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall, documented the event in historical texts, giving the mystery a strange legitimacy. These weren't random stories whispered in taverns. They were recorded as actual events. That's why, nearly 1,000 years later, people are still trying to solve the mystery of the Green Children. Were they sick or lost? Victims of war? Survivors from a hidden community deep in the forest? Or were they something much more extraordinary? Let's break down the rational theories first. Some historians believe the children might have been Flemish refugees. At the time, parts of eastern England had seen an influx of Flemish immigrants fleeing political unrest. A nearby town had suffered conflict and many people had disappeared. It's possible the children were hiding, lost in the woods, and traumatized. Their odd clothes could have been traditional Flemish garments unfamiliar to the locals. Their language might have been a dialect no one in Woolpit understood. And their green skin? A symptom of severe malnutrition, known as hypochromic anemia or chlorosis, which can give the skin a greenish tint, especially in children who haven't eaten properly for weeks. But this explanation has its problems. First, even Flemish refugees would likely have known some English or Latin, or at least been able to recognize the local environment. Second, how do you explain their story of a sunless land? Why would children create such an elaborate tale and stick to it under pressure? And then there's the issue of location. No one could identify where St. Martin's Land was supposed to be. It didn't appear on any maps, and no one had ever heard of it before or since, which leads us into stranger territory. Some theorists believe the children stumbled through a dimensional rift, a naturally occurring portal between realities. Think about it. A green-lit world where the sun never shines, accessed through a tunnel by following the sound of bells. The bells could have been some sort of harmonic vibration from another plane of existence. The tunnel might even have been a wormhole or a shift in frequency that allowed them to phase from one dimension to another. It sounds like science fiction, but the concept of multiverses and parallel realities is taken seriously by many physicists today. What if, just for a moment, a gap opened, and they fell through? Then there's the time travel theory. Could these children have come from Earth's distant past or far future? Their clothing, behavior, and language all suggest an origin far from 12th century England. If they came from a post-apocalyptic future where humans live underground to survive, their sensitivity to sunlight, strange diet, and disorientation would make sense. Their green skin could be a side effect of genetic modification, radiation exposure, or an entirely different atmosphere in their native timeline. And the mention of a land without sun could refer to a world after a cataclysmic event, an Earth where sunlight no longer reaches the surface. Of course, no ancient mystery is complete without alien theories. Some believe the Green Children were extraterrestrials, either crash-landed or accidentally teleported to Earth. The beings they recognized might have been similar to plants from their homeworld. Their language, clothing, and physiology point to an origin far beyond our understanding. Perhaps they were scouts, or experiments, or simply lost passengers from an interstellar civilization that made a mistake. Maybe they were never meant to arrive here at all. The most haunting part of the story is its silence. After the girl grew up, she was said to live a fairly normal life. She worked as a servant, later married, and slowly faded from history. No further reports of Green Children ever surfaced. No confirmed sightings of St. Martin's Land. Just one isolated incident, left behind in dusty chronicles and kept alive by those who refuse to let go of the unknown. But maybe that's the point. The Green Children weren't just a curiosity. They were a disruption, a crack in the surface of reality that let something else peek through. What do you believe? Were they time travelers? Visitors from another dimension? Aliens lost in time and space? Or just confused children caught in the wrong place at the wrong time? Whatever the answer is, the story of the Green Children of Woolpit reminds us of one powerful truth. Not everything in history can be explained. Some mysteries exist to challenge our assumptions, expand our imaginations, and whisper that there's still so much we don't understand. So, now it's your turn. Drop your theory in the comments. Do you think the Green Children were real? And if so, what were they? If you love uncovering the hidden corners of history, diving into the unexplained, and exploring the strange threads that connect our world to something greater, subscribe and join the journey. Because out here, the truth isn't just stranger than fiction, it's what makes fiction possible.